Neither The Fiend nor Randy Orton was featured in the go-home show of Raw before WrestleMania. This caused a lot of outrage on the internet, from fans who were pumped about the show. There is an air of mystique when it comes to The Fiend and Randy Orton ahead of their massive WrestleMania clash. Nobody knows how the contest is going to pan out, because of the supernatural elements involved. We are as much in the dark as you are, but here are 5 ways that the match could potentially play out. Do let us know how you think the match will pan out. Is it The Fiend's time to shine, or will the inveterate Randy Orton manage to overcome the supernatural forces that the unearthly being will conjure at WrestleMania? Number 5. Randy Orton defeats The Fiend clean, with an RKO. Let's just state right off the bat that this is not a scenario that is likely to happen. WrestleMania is an annual event where the babyface stands tall. Especially this year, with the world in lockdown mode, the audience wants a reason to celebrate. While The Fiend isn't a clean-cut babyface like Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton is the clear wrongdoer in this feud and has not received his punishment yet. That said, this is an video where we explore every single possibility, and yes, it is not impossible to surmise that Orton could win this match. Everyone loves a good RKO, and that could be the reasoning for Vince McMahon to have the Viper stand tall in this contest. In the opinion of this creator, however, The Fiend should just kick out at just about every RKO thrown his way. Now that we have explored that possibility, let's examine 4 other scenarios which may sound ridiculous but are yet more probable than this one. Number 4. The Fiend defeats Randy Orton and then Bray Wyatt shows up. No, this is not a typo. During The Fiend vs. Randy Orton, both The Fiend and Bray Wyatt could show up. It could then be showcased that it was Bo Dallas under the mask all along. For Wyatt's real-life brother, Dallas, entering the fray in such a massive way would be a very interesting twist. Just because Orton and The Fiend will not be competing in a cinematic match does not mean that there can't be cinematic elements in their matches. This is clearly the sports entertainment match of the 2-night gala, and many smoke and mirrors will be involved in the proceedings. Just imagine how big a push it will mean for Bo Dallas to pin someone like Randy Orton at WrestleMania. He could then adopt one of the Fiend masks while Bray Wyatt dons the other. Bo Dallas is just far too talented a performer to be sitting on the sidelines. He's waited far too long, and this should be his moment to shine. Number 3. Aleister Black helps The Fiend win. Could The Fiend call upon someone who has, thus far, been missing from action for quite some time? Aleister Black and The Fiend have gimmicks rooted in the supernatural, and a coalition between them would not really be out of the ordinary. So, at WrestleMania, with the whole world watching, Randy Orton may realize that while he has The Fiend's number, Wyatt may have unleashed a force of hell that just cannot be stopped. Black, for his part, gets a reboot that he desperately needs, and a chance to start afresh as a member of the new Wyatt family. The Fiend and Aleister Black could be a modern incarnation of The Undertaker and Kane, and the new Brothers of Destruction could, in time, dominate the tag team division as well. And yes, the return of Aleister Black at WrestleMania, if such is indeed the plan, would be a fabulous moment for fans. What do you think? Is this a partnership that you think could yield results for both men? Number 3. The Fiend defeats Randy Orton clean, in the middle of the ring. There's a rumors doing the rounds that The Fiend will squash Randy Orton in their match. This makes all the sense in the world, because, despite his gimmick, The Fiend is the babyface in this contest, at this time. He's coming back for sweet, violent, brutal revenge, and Orton's days are numbered. Bray Wyatt has spent a long duration away from WWE, selling the burns that Randy Orton inflicted upon him. This is his chance to entrench himself as a member of the roster and maybe return to normal after he has defeated Orton comprehensively. Fans can cheer in unison as they see one of the most prolific characters of the modern era standing tall at WrestleMania. This is the only logical storyline conclusion for a match between The Fiend and Randy Orton, considering it has to come to an end after dragging on for months. Both men need a reset following WrestleMania, and hence, this conclusion could be the best-case scenario. Number 1. The Fiend drags Randy Orton to hell. Let's rewind to a time before the whole Randy Orton vs. The Fiend saga began, with this interview featuring the Viper conducted by Sportskeeda. Check out Orton's thoughts on a potential showdown with The Fiend by clicking on the link in description. WrestleMania is all about moments, and not necessarily the quality of the matches the performers are involved in. Randy Orton and The Fiend do not need to replicate the in-ring prowess of Asuka and Rhea Ripley, but instead, tell a story that people will cherish for their lives. Simply put, The Fiend could, with the world watching, drag Orton all the way down to hell. Hell, somehow, exists just under the ring, and this is something we've seen used time and time again in WWE programming. Randy Orton could then take a sabbatical before he returns for his next big feud. The sight of Orton being dragged, flailing, to the bottom of the ring is one that fans would remember with the utmost glee.
Boom!
The mere name of Rhea Ripley strikes fear in the hearts of opponents. As soon as her opponents see her walking down the ramp, they know things are about to go down. Rhea Ripley is a product of NXT, has gone through the entire developmental process, and is WWE's own created star. Spending the majority of her career in NXT, she was part of the golden generation of female stars that put the gold in the black and gold brand. WrestleMania 37 will feature Asuka and Rhea Ripley facing off each other for the WWE Raw Women's Championship. To bolster her big match, Sportskeeda was invited to a global conference call to interact with the talented young star. Rhea was asked if she wanted to fight Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey on their potential WWE returns. She instantaneously replied, "Yeah, I'd love to face both of them. I had a little taste of being in the ring with Becky back in NXT before Shayna, Jessamine, and Marina came out and absolutely destroyed that moment of mine. But I'd love to step in the ring with Becky." Rhea and Becky have faced each other before in the NXT brand of WWE, but are yet to face off on Raw. What a mouth-watering spectacle that will be for the fans. Ripley explains that her match with Ronda will be a different kind of match by stating, "And even Ronda as well. I think that we could really have a great match together. And it'd be something different. It'd be something different for me, and I like different. I like to experience being in the ring with everyone, and if they came back, put me in. Put me in, coach. I'm ready." Rhea against Ronda will undoubtedly be a different sort of match, as both superstars have very different wrestling styles. Regardless of their differences, the fans know that they have no reason to miss such a match. Come on Vince, give the fans what they want. Rhea Ripley on a run. Being the #1 contender for the WWE Raw Women's Championship, some would argue that Ripley getting fast-tracked to WrestleMania is a bad thing. We cannot blame WWE, as the planned contenders for the title match have had unforeseen situations in their personal lives. Rhea, since then, has certainly proved her worth. The fans are speculating if she will win the Raw Women's Championship at WrestleMania and go on a long reign with the title. What's your thoughts on Rhea Ripley's comments? Let us know below in comments.
Oh, let me up with a bright smile on now. Put me in the dark, don't won't get lost now. To the moonlight, eyes you.